Rohingya is not officially an ethnicity or tribe in Myanmar. And in the wake of this year's violence, the European Union is calling on the Myanmar government to grant citizenship to the Rohingyas who have been living in the country for generations. Thwin reports.
In Burma, the issue of citizenship of the Rohingya minority has escalated into months of fighting and bloodshed. And in Washington, D.C., Aung San Suu Kyi was asked whether the Rohingya should be given Burmese citizenship.
We have to know who are citizens of Burma in accordance with our citizenship laws. On the other hand, we also have to examine our citizenship laws to find out if they are in line with international standards and with basic human rights requirements.
According to Suu Kyi, the question of a Rohingya citizenship escalated because the law was not observed. She says it started with a crime and the laws failed to deal with crime correctly. The latest violence erupted in June after a Rakhine woman was raped and murdered by a group of Muslim men. The following revenge killings escalated into communal conflict that left nearly 90 people dead and thousands homeless. Human rights organizations blame Burma for discriminatory responses by security forces against Muslims. In July, President Thein Sein suggested that Burma should hand over all Rohingya people to any country willing to take them. These monks agreed, and they took to the streets in Rangoon and Mandalay to show their support for the president. This was the biggest monk-led protest since the Saffron Revolution. The views in Europe are very different, and the European Parliament is calling for the Rohingya to be made citizens of Burma. In Rangoon, a conference to debate the sensitive issue of national identity is being held. One Muslim lawmaker wants to see the laws changed.
1982 citizenship law racism go uti nira ko janroတွေ့ရှိပါတယ် national identity ကိုအခြေခံပေါ်တာအဟန့်တာတစ်ခုဖြစ်နေတယ်ဆိုတာကိုလည်းကျွန်တော်တို့လေ့လာတွေ့ရှိနိုင်ပါတယ်အဲ့တော့1982 citizenship law ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ပြင်ဆင်ဖို့တော့လိုပါလိမ့်မယ်
According to the law, only descendants of people living in Burma before 1823 are considered Burmese.
အဲ့တော့ဥပဒေကတော့ဒါကျွန်တော်พูดနေနေပြောရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့နိုင်ငံရဲ့အချုပ်အခြာအာဏာတည်မြဲရေးနိုင်ငံခြားသားလက်ထဲမရောက်သွားဖို့တိတိကျကျခိုင်မာမာရေးရတဲ့ဥပဒေပဲတို့တော့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံသားတယောက်မြန်မာနိုင်ငံရဲ့လွတ်တော်ကိုယ်စားလှယ်တယောက်အနေနဲ့ပြောရမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ EU ရဲ့သုံးသပ်တင်ပြချက်ပေါ်မှာကျွန်တော်သဘောမတူဘူးကျွန်တော်လည်းဆက်လက်ကြိုက်ဆွဲပြီးတော့ဒီနေ့ပေါ်ပေါက်နေတဲ့ပြဿနာတွေကိုဖြေရှင်းသင့်တယ်လို့ကျွန်တော်အခိုင်အမာယုံကြည်တယ်
A government commission set up to look into the causes of the violence is set to release its findings in the coming months.
The government, international community have responsibility to protect firstly the Rohingyas, and the Burmese government should have a willing to reconcile two communities to provide, the Rohingyas ethnic rights and citizenship rights.
There are others who remain optimistic that the crisis will end.
Very optimistically,
The United Nations estimates that 800,000 Rohingya live in Burma. The nation's population is 60 million. Rohingyas are viewed by the state as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, but Bangladesh denies this claim, leaving the Rohingyas stateless.
At the moment, government policy even restricts the number of Rohingya marriages. Couples have to get permission from their local authority to get married. Failure to get a permit could result in a lengthy jail sentence. Banyan Konjanoi travelled to a Rohingya community in the northern part of the Rakhine state. 25-year-old Joy U is taking me to a safe place so we can talk. He doesn't want to use his real name or show his face. He wants to marry his girlfriend, but because he's a Rohingya, it's not a simple thing. He had to give around $200 to the officials. Since 1994, Rohingya couples who get married without a special government permit face jail sentences. Chris Lua from the NGO Rakhine Project explains why the government introduced the restrictions on marriage. For security reasons, she also doesn't want to show her face.
So for me it's very clear this is one of the tactics of the government to control the population. And I think it was even very openly said in the parliamentary session when the Minister of Immigration explained that indeed it was a way to try to, that preventing marriages, free marriages, was helping to reduce the population.
And as a result, there are many cases of illegal marriages among the Rohingya.
We found many young couples in Bangladesh because they could not marry, their parents could not pay the fee. Also, in many cases, they would have, a relationship without permission. But then, if the girl becomes pregnant, she should usually have to abort because that would be a proof that she had an illegal marriage. And of course, this illegal marriage today are punished by up to 5 years in jail, so for the men mostly.
And even if they do get the official permit to marry, Rohingya parents have to sign an agreement not to have more than 2 children. Children born outside official marriages are put on a government blacklist. It's estimated that there are around 40,000 of these unregistered children.
The government has not issued birth certificate for children since the mid-90s apparently, which means that even in the future it would be a bit difficult for the child to prove that he's born, to have a proper document to prove that his birth is in Myanmar. But it's a child which is never registered. He can never get a card, so he can never travel, he can never go to school. When he becomes an adult, he cannot marry because he has no document.
In a letter to the United Nations, President Thain Shwe said that the Burmese government was prepared to address the sensitive issue of Rohingya citizenship. He also promised to look at other issues such as work permits and granting freedom of movement to the Rohingya. However, he didn't say anything about the marriage restrictions. The Rakhine Project is urging the government to tackle this issue.
If a parent wants to declare the child, well, if they are not married, they know that they can be prosecuted for illegal marriage, so they probably never declare to the authority, and they try to keep the child many times in hiding. Sometimes they send it even out of the country. We have heard stories about children being left in Bangladesh refugee camps. I mean, it's a very, very sad situation, I think, with children and also with women. For me, the marriage issue, the marriage restriction is one of the most gross human rights abuse against that population.
For Asia Calling, this report was produced by Banyan Konjanoi.